Hi, and welcome to our video of the National Trust Standen House and Gardens in West Sussex. Standen House is in the southeast of the UK, only 3 miles from East Grinstead and around 11 miles from Gatwick Airport and Crawley. It's an art and crafts home with beautiful gardens set in a stunning landscape. From the car park and ticket office, we'll head up to the Barn Cafe before making our way into Standen House and exploring. Then we'll head out into the gardens. So without further ado, let's go and discover Standen House and Gardens. As with so many National Trust properties, you are positively encouraged to make a day of your visit. In the description, I'd add a link to all the sites I mentioned, including the National Trust link to Standen, so you can check out the prices. Back to our visit and a little bit more about Standen and the arts and crafts movement. Standen was designed in 1891 by Philip Webb for Margaret and James Beale. James and Margaret had a large family with 7 children. James was a successful solicitor from Birmingham whose family firm prospered in the railway boom of the mid-19th century. He relocated to London to run the firm's offices there and had a home in Holland Park. James and Margaret wanted a country retreat, and through their neighbours were introduced to the work of Philip Webb, an architect and leading figure in the arts and crafts movement, and they commissioned him to design Standen for them. So what is the arts and craft movement? Well, it developed in the late 19th century as a reaction to the effects of industrialisation and mass production, where it was cheap and easier to mass produce items, and the care and love for items of quality and design were losing out. The concern was for the skilled trades and professions that society would lose out if we continued to follow this route. The arts and crafts movement covered the design and manufacture of everything from buildings to jewellery. Actually, it was a collection of different artistic societies, such as the Exhibition Society, the Arts Workers Guild, and other craftspeople in small workshops and large manufacturing companies. One of the key influences was William Morris. Now back to Standen. As you may have noticed, the attention to detail is simply beautiful. As with many National Trust properties, Standen is themed. The house is dressed for a weekend stay in 1925, so you can imagine you're a guest of the family, or you can be in a Miss Marple or Hercule Poirot story as it unfolds here. This looks like a wonderful place to enjoy a gin and tonic. Anyway, back to the Standen House we see before us. When James Beale passed away in 1912, Margaret sold the Holland Park home and relocated to Standen with her 2 daughters, Maggie and Helen. Margaret lived well into her 80s, and when she passed away in 1936, the house passed to Maggie. When Maggie died in 1947, it passed to Helen, the youngest daughter, who lived there until her passing in 1972. She bequeathed it to the National Trust so others could enjoy it, but they could not accept it because it came with an inadequate endowment. In steps Arthur Grogan and his wife Helen. He was an inspector of historic buildings and she an architect. Arthur was a discerning collector of late 19th century British works of art and craftsmanship, an authority on the arts and craft movement and a benefactor of public collections in Britain. He brought a proposal to the National Trust. He would sell his home in Richmond, make up the shortfall in the endowment, and in exchange he would ask for a lease on the property and the post of honorary curator. The National Trust accepted and Standens was opened to the public in 1977. That was after he oversaw the restoration of Standens with period features, artwork and so much more. They remained at Standens for a further 8 years. As we walk through the home, I hope you're enjoying the details, the works of craftsmanship and the story behind it. If you are, then why not give us a like? We'd really appreciate it. And if you like my style of video, then why not subscribe and hit that notification bell? There'll be more from the National Trust as we travel the country in the coming weeks, months and years. At the end of this video, I'll pop up a playlist of the other National Trust properties we've visited to date. While we're wandering around, I have another tale about the last Beale to live at Standen, Helen. In 1910, Helen qualified as a first aider and then completed a home nursing course. With her sister Maggie, she went on to join the East Grinstead branch of the Red Cross before World War One. Shortly after the outbreak of war, she went out to France as a voluntary aid detachment nurse at the hospital camp at Etaples. After 13 months of service in France, she returned to England due to Mrs. Beale's ill health. However, she had a taste for assisting in the war effort, so she joined the newly formed Women's Royal Naval Reserve, or as they're more commonly known, the Wrens. Using her impressive skills in organisation, she flourished in the Wrens, and in 1919 she was awarded an OBE, that's the Officer of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. After the war, she continued to work with the Red Cross, and in later years served on the administrative side of the Queen Victoria Hospital in East Grinstead. What an amazing woman! As we wander around, hopefully you enjoy the decor that Arthur Grogan left us, all in that arts and crafts style. After Helen passed, Standen needed a little TLC, but its structure and layout are as they would have been in the late 19th century. The Beales were a thoroughly modern family, one without pretension, and they wanted their house to reflect that. A comfortable house in the country rather than a lavish stately home. This house at the turn of the 20th century had central heating and electrical lighting. It was thoroughly modern. When the work was complete in 1894, it had cost £18,065. In today's money, that's a cool 1.9 million. I think if it was up for sale today, it'd be worth a whole lot more. As we finish up in the house, it's now time to head to the gardens. The estate was formed from 3 farms, purchased in 1890, and the thoroughly modern new home was blended with some of the medieval farm buildings on the site. Standen was built using local materials, some quarried from the estate, and using local skilled workers, all part of the arts and crafts ethos. And here's where I reach for my trusty Gardens of the National Trust book for the lowdown on the Standen estate. The link is in the description below to the amazon.co.uk store if you want to find out more. Our visit here is in late spring, towards the end of May. However, whenever you visit, there will be specific points of interest to be found in the 12-acre gardens. There is an army of National Trust gardeners working on the site, maintaining and restoring the gardens to their former glory. Very much inspired by Margaret Beale, who will be found in the gardens from the early days right up until her death. If you want to visit Standen, I have included the address in the description, plus a what 3 words address to the car park entrance. There's ample car parking on site. If you don't want to drive, you're under 3 miles from East Grinstead Station, where you can pick up a taxi. If you want to stay in East Grinstead, we have a couple of recommendations for you. They'll be in the description too. Now we're off to discover the Quarry Garden, but some heavy rainfall had meant the National Trust had closed part of it. Never mind, a chance to grab a little rest in this peaceful little haven. It's hard to imagine Gatwick Airport is so close by. This is where some of the materials used to build Standen House were quarried from. Now it's a tranquil setting with just the birds to keep you company. We've made our way to the Rosery, which is still being replanted after the clearance of some invasive bamboo. In the corner is a swimming pond where the children learn to swim. In a season or two, this area will look amazing. As we stroll past the orchards with their beehives, we get to enjoy the views across the Medway Valley to the Ashdown Forest beyond. The very reason the Beales chose this location. Our last stopover is the kitchen garden, whose produce can be enjoyed at the Barn Cafe, another feature of National Trust properties we love. I know I haven't mentioned it, but don't worry, the second-hand bookshop is here too, close to the entrance to the house. Once again, you can see the work that goes into maintaining the gardens of Standen House. I love the mix of planting with the colour from the lupins and iris on our visit. Everything seems in balance. As always, there are benches provided for you to take a seat and admire the hard work and the stunning views. To enjoy Standen House and Gardens, you're going to need to allow a couple of hours, but you could easily spend a whole lot longer. So that's the end of our visit. I think we'll be back here soon for more inspiration and perhaps explore a little more. Maybe we'll even take an East Grinstead. Keep an eye out. I hope you've enjoyed what we've put together. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, stay safe, stay well, and happy travels.